It gives you a full scope of all of those primary female hormones effectively.
What's your thought process in the myriad of testing that you offer and the comprehensive biomarkers that you're looking at?
The intended objective is to help you understand your health, understand that it doesn't need to be as mysterious and misunderstood. We can help people manage their health, ultimately their lifestyle.
Welcome to the Hot Flash Health Podcast, where we're dishing out unfiltered truths about menopause with a side of sass and a sprinkle of grass.
Get ready to dive into the wild world of hot flashes, mood swings, and all of the other joys of being a queenager.
This ain't your grandma's podcast. No, we are here to talk our bodies, our fears, our passions, our desires, all while navigating this wild roller coaster ride of menopause.
So grab a glass of wine
For free.
Kick back, relax, and let's enjoy this hot flash wave together.
I'm Courtney Mamusha, and alongside me is my fabulous co-host, Dawn Fable.
We're just two outspoken broads who like to call it how it is.
Now, without further ado, let's kick off today's episode.
Welcome back to the Hot Flash Health Podcast. This is your go-to space for candid conversations, expert insights, and zero bullshit guidance to help you navigate menopause and midlife like the badass woman you are. Today, we have some seriously exciting news. We at Hot Flash Health have officially partnered with MyLabsDirect to help bring the Women's Complete Hormone Test to the market through Hot Flash Health. This is game-changing, at-home, in-person panel. It's designed to give you real data, real clarity, and real power over your health with no mess of going to the labs. This isn't your average spit in a tube and wait kind of test. Unlike many others out there, MyLabDirect runs everything through their own CLIA-certified labs, which for you means top-tier accuracy. We're taking estrogen, progesterone, HEA, cortisol, thyroid hormones, and the whole hormonal symphony decoded just for you. And here today, the heart behind it all, Justin Simmons, the founder of MyLabsDirect. Justin started this company after tragically losing his father to COVID-19, a diagnosis that came far too late. That loss lit a fire in his heart to make lab testing more accessible, empowering for everyone. No waiting, no red tape, just clear answers for what you need most. So MyLabsDirect since 2017 has been changing the game, and we are so thrilled to have you here. You guys are a big deal. You've been featured on Forbes, CBS News, and Newsweek, and you're just getting started, and Hot Flash Health is about to blow it up. So welcome, Justin.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate you guys having us on. This is really exciting to be working with you guys, certainly.
Yes. Well, let's talk a little bit about why we're partnering together, right? So can you tell us how this collaboration between us came to life and why you're excited to jump on board with us gals and team at Hot Flash Health?
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, of course, what motivated a lot of the process of developing MyLabsDirect is just anyone's experience in healthcare today, driving access and empowerment to health and well-being. And so that obviously underlies everything. But, my wife also, at the very beginning, when we started doing testing, she was experiencing a lot of stuff, that I think a lot of women just live with, as she's explained it to me. I can't entirely relate other than just stay out of the way when it's that time. But I think a lot of women, they suffer from things that otherwise, are diagnosable. And so that's kind of what led to the women's health testing and the things that we've been doing in the space. And again, giving people not only convenient access, but empowering their health decisions is ultimately what drives a lot of that passion. I think today also just focusing on home care and on-demand treatment and on-demand access to stuff is super important. We find time and again the same story where women will come to us and say, I need to go through my PCP, and they don't feel that they're willing to prescribe this hormone panel. And so I think this is a great way to get access to things that are underlying a lot of symptoms and help people start to navigate their health overall.
We so appreciate that, Justin. And you touched on a couple things that we really believe here at Hot Flash Health. First of all is empowering. women to find answers. And unfortunately, we as women for years and years and years have been dismissed by the medical profession, especially when it comes to menopause and hormonal health. So we've had no other choice than to take this into our own hands and really advocate for ourselves. And you and what you're doing with your lab is simply giving us knowledge. And to us, knowledge is power. We can identify what's happening in our bodies. To a certain extent, it's refreshing to really be validated that something is off. And I so appreciate the at-home health methodology because it is an absolute pain in the ass for all of us women working, raising families, carting kids everywhere to go sit in a lab for an hour. And many of us know that that experience is not a positive one, right? So thank you. Huge kudos to you. We're so excited for this. Now, it's obviously very important for us, being all around menopause, to offer a very, very comprehensive hormone panel that's specifically for women in perimenopause and menopause. In your opinion, what makes this test so powerful for midlife women, especially those of us who have felt like something is really off?
Well, I think you said it. I'll say that the amount of time that we spend perfecting our science and validating the things that we're doing through we have a commercial research partnership at Baylor University down in Waco. And so we've taken a lot of effort to ensure that the stuff that we're producing and providing back to folks is clinical grade, number one. But working with our medical team and our doctors, it was really a focus on volume first and foremost, and ensuring that we get enough panels in our tests that are meaningful enough for people to guide from. I think that if you look at the market in general, a lot of the home testing companies out there are selling this comprehensive view of your health, and then you really boil it down or distill it down, and it's just one or two tests. If you take that to your provider, there's not much they can do with. So before we ever put this into the marketplace, wanted to make sure that we had enough meaningful data that, again, a person could get a general sense of the things going on in their body. And hormones, there's so much regulation and hormones and change in women. And so ensuring that we're putting the right things in that panel to help you ultimately understand, we've got to toe the line. We can't necessarily interpret, but we can provide access to really important information as to what these things are doing in your body. What is a high level of progesterone, low level? What are those things doing? What are the symptoms, and how is that correlating to what you're experiencing? A lot of effort and science, of course, and a lot of expert backing in the design of what we're doing.
Well, we are a mysterious creature, us women, right? Especially around this day and age. Hormones everywhere.
Yeah, what's going on in menstrual cycles too is it's interesting, and as a guy, we're pretty, for the most part, we don't experience that, and understanding what's going on emotionally. Actually, if it's benefited anybody beyond my wife, it's been me to fully understand kind of some things that are going on, when to stay away and when to, make her feel like.
Justin's so smart. He's like, I know when to stay away now. You need to do a male test for that, like when to stay away from your wife and other crazy bitches out there.
That may be the whole thing. Men's safety test,
Yeah, men's safety test. So, we're talking about this amazing test that we're going to be offering on Hot Flash Health. Let's maybe dive into what's included and what this test actually measures. I mean, from estrogen to cortisol and beyond, what are some of the key markers that you're looking at within this test, and why do they matter?
Again, I think that all of them, ultimately, all hormones are having an impact on certain things that you're experiencing, from could be hair loss to unexplained weight gain to, lack of sex drive, lack of libido. That happens a lot. And so drawing those corollaries to folks. Also, for younger females, obviously infertility and some of the things that are maybe causing or leading to those issues. It gives you kind of a full scope of all of those primary female hormones effectively. Just perfecting that science by hormone, by assay, and hopefully drawing that correlation that helps guide some of the underlying lifestyle measures and things you can take as a result.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I applaud you guys for what you've done, because you really dig into sort of the whole health and whole body, right? So amongst the women's health panel and the hormonal health panel, you're also looking at things like cortisol, and how this is impacting other symptoms that may in fact be related to your thyroid, adrenals, or other hormone systems that we as so many women are experiencing. So So thank you for that. And what's your thought process in the myriad of testing that you offer and the comprehensive biomarkers that you're looking at?
Well, the design is just that. It's the cascade of biomarkers and how, again, those are being regulated throughout a menstrual cycle, and being able to measure those as well is really beneficial for people to see kind of where they are and to measure that against where they are in the menstrual cycle. So I think all things, every hormone that we're placed in the design of this specific test, again, is intended to give you a good view, a good snapshot of what's happening at that current period of time. Then again, the intended objective is to help you understand your health, understand that it doesn't need to be as mysterious and misunderstood, and then we can help people manage their health, ultimately their lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that that's the hard thing too is, everything is kind of interconnected, what you were talking about, like our gut health with inflammation and stress and environmental toxins. And all of these things are impacting our hormones and how we live our lives, and measuring that and trying to nail down to the specific problem. There might be many problems, right? So again, and as you could probably say, these tests are merely some more data to help you figure out what's going on with your body. But without these sort of comprehensive tests, we have no idea what's going on, right?
Absolutely. No, like all of these things start to play on themselves as you're talking about our gut health testing and things like that, how that's affecting skin and hair. I mean, these are kind of obvious, but when you put all that together and we present that to the patient in the dashboard and make it a really meaningful presentation, something that they can understand and it's kind of easy to guide from. I think that's important too. And we've spent a lot of time and effort on the experience side of how we present the values to folks and letting them understand these things. So, certainly provide it at a clinical grade level through our reporting system that you could take to a provider, to your doctor. You can download this right from the system, and doctors will honor that result. So that's the idea.
I think it's important, Justin. There's so much noise out there, especially around menopause right now. Menopause is certainly having its moment, with the Oprah special and, Dr. Mary Claire and Tamsin and all of the things, right? I know that, when Courtney and I go and sit down and have wine with our girlfriends, it is the topic. And as a result, we as women are just getting bombarded with different testing modalities and different programs and longevity clinics and all of these things. We were very, very, very specific and did a tremendous amount of research on the labs that we wanted to partner with to really bring the most progressive, comprehensive testing to the market through Hot Flash Health. Your lab spoke to us in quality measures, in expertise, in comprehensive testing, all of those things. Can you speak to us as to why your lab and why your testing is different and superior?
Yeah, I would say a lot of people in the marketplace, it can be somewhat misleading. You present as maybe a laboratory, but when you boil it down, it's really more of a marketing engine that's driving a lead and brokering a sample, for example, to a laboratory, typically one of the large lab chains. And I think that's where we exist, is a high service, high touch, focused on precision medicine type of lab. We're very boutique in our approach. It's not about millions of samples processed. It's really about quality. And so we've always kind of stood on that. And we're not going to do things as a CLIA-certified laboratory. We're CLIA-certified and also accredited. We're held to a really high standard, but we also own accountability because we are the lab. We're a real lab. And it's hard to watch out there in the marketplace where there's these big, venture-backed marketing companies that present as a lab and ultimately they're not. And people don't think to look a little deeper. So I think the biggest thing is our approach. We're very authentic and kind of I'd say blue collar approach to what we do. We actually run the samples. We own the experience. We take it very seriously because that's kind of what we're doing. We've been in this a while and we want to give people good quality. I think that's really lacking as well. It's a pretty front to something that's not really, no one's really owning on the back end, but we do. We're accountable to everything on our side.
Yeah, and that's really reassuring, because it's hard when you have your bodily fluids going off somewhere and it's being touched by 10 different, people and places and whatnot. So thank you for taking everything in-house and giving it a level of quality and expertise that we all deserve.
I think that's a great point. The chain of custody is important as well. So, our laboratory, we will package and send that sample from the same location. It'll get to your home. It'll come right back to the same place, so that we have a very closed loop, closed chain, protected. We protect security, all those types of things. That's really important to people. It's not being aliquoted and split and sent to different labs, and you don't really know where your specimen is. And then it's destroyed. We've had a lot of questions surrounding that as well. What happens to the excess sample, the excess specimen? We destroy the sample for those that are interested afterwards. So a very tight process, very highly regulated process. We go through routine audits by federal regulators, and so we're proud of that, truly.
Let's talk a little bit about how people can take this test, right? I mean, there's blood, there's saliva, there's urine. So let's talk about, what people can expect from this test and why you chose your specific methods.
For us, we're big on whole blood. We feel like direct measure blood through, in this case, capillary collection is really driving at the most accurate result. So there's a lot of options out there. We do a little bit of finger stick testing into dry blood spot cards. I think the primary method that we've seen the best correlation, best accuracy is through capillary whole blood collection. We provide it in a number of ways. So, a standard finger lancet into a microtainer tube, that's one method, but we also work very closely with Tasso, which is a home collection device that it's actually really cool. It's a device that we stick on the arm, and you push a button, you attach your blood tube to it. It's very easy. It actually draws the blood for you through almost like a suction. Typical blood collection, depending on hydration, which we guide the member through, being hydrated before they take their home test. You could range between 5 to 10 minutes on average, and you can go about your day. You don't have to milk your finger and all the other things. Offer every member access to a virtually proctored test, meaning we'll get online with you just like this, and we'll walk you through the steps just to make sure, one, we're getting a quality sample on our end, but also that we're ensuring a quality experience overall. And that seemed to have made a really big difference just in general outcome and overall opinion of our service.
Yeah, and that's what was big in us choosing you, is the quality, the accuracy, the at-home convenience. The test that we have really decided to highlight at Hot Flash Health is the Women's Complete Hormone Test Kit. And that spoke to us because this is a very comprehensive and complete hormone test where you are unlocking your full potential through the right balance of female hormones. So with this being said, this gives you a comprehensive overview of your hormone function, and that identifies and addresses barriers that may be hindering you of really feeling your best. So in this test, I think it's worth mentioning that it identifies cortisol, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, progesterone, estradiol, total testosterone, and prolactin. And those are all very important key biomarkers to determine where you're at in this hormonal journey and to give you that knowledge to take the next step and do something about it.
Absolutely. And correlate that to life and what's going on at the time you take that sample. And it opens up a pathway for you to explore other areas of your health, of course. And that's what it's about, is attracting lifestyle engagement and getting people to adopt and embrace and empower their own healthcare decisions is ultimately the underlying goal.
When do you recommend that women take this test, right? Is there like premenstrual cycle, postmenstrual? Is there like a great time for us gals to stick that Tasso on? And I do have to say, Dawn and I have tried these before, and I know when anybody listening, you get it in the mail, it's like very nerve-wracking. I took probably 2 weeks to try it first because I was like, I'm like so scared, but it literally felt like nothing. I actually had to hit it a couple times. So I was like, is this thing even working? You really don't even feel anything. So just wanted to put that disclaimer out there because I was sitting looking at it like with so much stress and concern, and then it was nothing. So we're so proud that you're doing that. I'm so happy because it's, I don't want the finger prick. Nobody needs a prick in their life. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, when should we take this test?
Honestly, I think it's important to indicate when, or in your mind, when you took the test. And of course, when we report that value back, there's a date. No real guidance on when and where in the menstrual cycle. There's no recommendation necessarily there. But yeah, and I would say that too. It is kind of intimidating. And so again, a reason that we offer access to one of our virtual proctors or instructors, or lab professionals and medical professionals. And again, we can do that virtually like this, or if someone's more comfortable, certainly can hop on the phone. We just want to give people a good experience and eliminate the intimidation factor. And then also, I think a lot of folks suffer from the get in front of this thing, and then it's like, do I really want to know what's happening here? So don't wait until you're ready. It's kind of a mantra. Just do it, get it out of the way, and let's go. It's actually very pain-free. That's why we like this Tasso device. Yeah, you've used it. It doesn't hurt at all.
Again,
and it literally takes. Yeah. I mean, my kids, I think, watch me do it. I think I had my son do it for me. He was like, "Oh, this is crazy, Mom." And that's what's so great is this at-home testing and the way that MyLabsDirect and Hot Flash Health have curated this is you go on Hot Flash Health, step 1, you select the test, the Women's Complete Hormone Test. Step 2, you put it in your shopping cart, you buy it. We send you the testing at home. You're going to collect and then return your sample. And step 3 is viewing your results and an interpretation of the results. So we are taking it a step further. We are not only facilitating this lab work, but Hot Flash Health will run it through our proprietary AI, give you recommendations, give you observations, really ways that you can take this knowledge, turn it into power, and start advocating for yourself with different professionals, with different lifestyle changes, all of those sorts of things.
It's really cool.
We're excited. And your knowledge of doing this, right? I mean, all of us women want to make a change. Have you seen and heard people who actually do change their lifestyle, add supplements, add medication, that they're actually making progress? And do you also suggest that you should test on a more frequent basis? So we, don't just do one test and then that's done, but you kind of want to track your progress and go from there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. In terms of testimonials, I would really just point to my wife, and she does use this and does routinely test. And that's nice because I have one, someone in the home that I can.
One repeat customer.
Yeah. I do as well. It's nice. It's a nice convenience. It can extend to other things as well. If we want to evaluate our cardiac health or, other biomarkers, we're complete in our wellness approach. And yeah, so to guide with you guys and what you're doing from the AI perspective, to be able to then kind of tailor some treatments around supplements and different treatment pathways. Really, 70% of the decisions that are made in medical are rooted in diagnostic medicine, diagnostic lab testing. And so for us, it makes sense to perfect that science, continue to expand on our biomarkers and home menu of tests, because the virtual care and the shift in digital healthcare continues to take over. People are looking for that on-demand convenience. It's almost counterintuitive that you engage in on-demand care and then have to go to sit in a waiting room. It's really not on brand, and so we feel like we're trying to expand on that ultimately the experience, and then back it with science, and then we have a baseline from which we can guide a lot of our empowered health decisions.
Yeah.
And with your wife. Sorry, one more question. But with your wife testing this, how often does she do the test, right? I'm always curious if it's a quarterly thing, wait 3 months and then take it again. I know everybody is going to do what they want to do, but is there a recommendation that you guys have seen work?
I'd be with her. So some of the things she was experiencing, she was concerned about originally, it went through a process. So just tired, falling asleep on the couch after dinner. And this is, not because she had a glass of wine, but,
glass of wine. We like
glass, not a bottle? What?
6 over here.
She stopped at one glass.
She's a mom on the go. So we've got 3 little kids. So she's driving them here and there, and I'm, trying to help where I can, but she does a lot. She lifts a lot. She's one of those that is like, I'm going to make dinner every night. So is that what's going on? But, there came a point where she was telling me, I was pulling over and going to sleep in the parking lot sometimes at the grocery store, stuff like that. And so originally we did more of a comprehensive, just general health assessment, and everything came back normal. It was like, oh, this looks, I don't understand. And so then obviously next step is let's dig a little deeper into the hormones. And there again, we start finding things. She has issues of feeling lightheaded sometimes, thinking maybe she was anemic. We drove that back to, again, hormones and biomarkers. And so that's kind of been her experience. And she'll test not just on hormones. It's typically maybe a 90-day to every 6 months, generally when she's testing. And then, we're kind of, both of us, from a lifestyle perspective, just tracking. We have the unfair advantage of being able to do this anytime. One thing I like about it, so again, I'll work a lot towards the cardiac health testing. So the last thing you want to do is not drink your coffee in the morning, and or talk to somebody, and sit in a waiting room. So I'm big on being able to have a test kit at home. I can take the test before I eat anything. So I'm fasting and I can get a cardiac view. In my case, anytime I just send it into the lab or take it into work, frankly. But that's the design and the idea behind convenience. Expanding beyond, I think what people will find other areas that they'll identify, they can look at, vitamins and other types of, nutrient levels and so on and so forth. But again, what's driving at that a lot of times, with certainly in the case of my wife, is like hormone imbalance. And so she was able to start investigating some different treatments and bioidentical hormone and pellet replacement therapy. She did that for a little while, and so it's kind of exploring to find the right balance has been really the journey she's been on. And
yeah, that's great. Talk to us a little bit. I'm sure you've seen absolute nightmares and horror stories in a lab setting and with labs. What are some things that women and consumers who are looking to take this next step in doing their lab testing and gaining more knowledge, what are some things that we should be looking out for in lab testing partners, or perhaps we're looking for in lab testing partners? And what are some scary things that you've seen in a lab to really allow women to take this into their own hands and get the quality testing that Hot Flash Health offers?
I think we get a lot of stories about just lost samples. Who's processing your test, again, because a lot of the things that are accessible to us from a consumer perspective it's kind of a broker of sorts that's capturing the sample or directing you to someone who's taking your sample. Turnaround time is important, so we're really fast on the result. We're accessible, so I think that's important versus where is my result? I want to guide my health. I took these steps. I was all jazzed and ready to go, and now I'm waiting a month, if not longer. My sample's lost. So I think, again, that the tighter we can control that chain of custody and that experience, the better ultimately. So, I'd say it's a lot of that in terms of just poor communication and coordination. Chain of custody issues are always a concern, is who's getting your sample, whose hands are touching this thing. Again, we're a single source, closed loop, vertically integrated system. And so we're big on that also. Some labs will, and it's not uncommon, to specialize in one area of laboratory medicine and then reference out to another laboratory, for example. That does happen. We don't like to do that. So we're really comprehensive. We do a lot of things from molecular to full blood services in here, and a lot of different esoteric studies, allergy and things of that nature. I'm only saying that because I would prefer to build on something internally versus reference out and, again, lose access to that sample and the quality control that we ultimately need to stand on. So that's really what I see the most: samples being lost and that kind of compromising data, the big one.
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of people are concerned with their health data security, right? So I think you've addressed that a lot with, HIPAA compliant, and you guys take the extra level to really ensure that everybody has their health data secure. So we applaud that and really appreciate that. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With AI being such a huge part in our lives in general and evolving into healthcare, what are your observations, Justin, as a leader in this space, in the lab space, in the medical space, as to some of the advantages of AI and where that's going to go for us as patients and AI interpretations?
Gosh, everything is going AI, and hopefully it doesn't entirely start to think for us, but it's pretty amazing. Efficiency. And I think that the criticism will be, of course, in healthcare is at some point intervention from the provider, at least before there's full on diagnosis. I think that it'll need to either have that human touch or that review. But what we're seeing and implementing it in different areas of our business is just sheer efficiency, accuracy. It's really, really interesting where it's going. And so, it's really cool. I think it's the future. We know that. And if all things, lab testing is perfectly positioned because we have this data on ourselves, and what can we ascertain from that? What kind of, AI, what kind of interpretive view can that provide us to things we're not even thinking about? It's really amazing stuff. And so we're implementing it in different processes here at the lab again for efficiencies. And I think the biggest thing is just fear and lack of understanding of how it can be applied. And so I think in the near term, you'll just have to have some level of intervention of a provider at some stage before actually diagnosing a medication, for example. That's how I'm seeing it right now.
Yep, a lot of exciting things going on around there. Well, let's, talk about why this test is such a game changer. Obviously, I can't wait to take it. We're excited to take it and kind of walk listeners through the journey. But, for these women listening who are a little lost and feeling overwhelmed, missed, exhausted, just like your wife. And I have to say your wife's story resonates with me because I feel exhausted all the time. And I actually just fainted 3 weeks ago and sliced my chin open. So, your story about getting dizzy, I like all these symptoms. I'm like, yes. And I've done blood work and they're like, your blood looks fine. So anyways, I'm excited to dive into my hormones and hopefully find something that doctors are just ignoring. So what message do you have for women like me who are listening that this blood isn't a miracle worker, but it can be a game changer, right?
I think it is really, it's, at the top said, I think a lot of women are suffering with things in their lives and they're not sure exactly what's going on. So they just kind of knuckle down and deal with it. And there's an underlying reason. And so I think you don't need to suffer. You don't need to worry about falling asleep or passing out or not having a strong sex drive or, there's a lot of that. And so I do believe a lot of women just kind of dismiss it because, as you said before, Dawn, you got so much going on. You're carrying an entire household a lot of times. You don't have time for yourself. So implementing the things like what you guys are doing too, it's bringing access and convenience and all of that to people to get them to engage in their health and let them understand that, hey, there's a trusted resource behind this, making it convenient and accessible so you can implement it into your lifestyle, and then it can help guide your lifestyle is ultimately the goal here. But that would be my message, is just jump in and trust the process and take care of yourself. Stop suffering, because you're going to find some things that, may have a profound effect on a lot of aspects of your life.
Yeah. Well, we are here for you, ladies. We are so excited to be rolling out the Women's Complete Hormone Test. We are making it easy. We are making it successful, and we are giving you the knowledge to take your health into your own hands, advocate for yourselves. We're thrilled to be partnering with MyLabsDirect. Justin, thank you so much for your time. Court, I'll let you wrap it up, girl.
Well, thank you again, Justin. Like she said, we're so excited. But for all of our listeners, be sure to follow us, like us, share us with your friends. We're all about building this community. Get those tests ordered because you're just wasting time not knowing what's going on in that hormone imbalance, crazy shit that's happening inside your body. I'm the first to jump on the bandwagon because Lord knows I need it. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. Until next time, stay sassy, classy, and keep those hot flashes in check. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Remember, menopause may be a wild ride, but together, we've got this.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Hot Flash Health.
Stream and subscribe to us on any of your favorite listening platforms like YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
And of course, share your thoughts with us. We love hearing from our amazing listeners.
And until next time, stay sassy, stay fabulous, and keep those hot flashes in check.
Yeah, girl.
Woo!